This was Herbie Hyde on Sky Sports today.
But you don't think that Haye or Chisora should face heavy sanctions, perhaps be banned for life?
No, please. No, why? I think you're asking the wrong person. You should go and ask John Majors. Some people like that, you can't be asking me. I'm one of them.
Well, they're talking about banning Derek Chisora and David Haye now. That's what they're talking about. The British Border Controller investigating it, and German equivalent border control are pushing for them to get banned for life. And it's serious, it's not a joke thing either, you know? And I'm just trying to figure out where the balance is in all the double standards. That's all I'm trying to do, you know? Like Vladimir stood up in front of Derek's face. Now, why would you be in a man's face staring at him unless you were prepared to take his head off? I don't get it. Why was he doing that? Because when Derek spat at him, he did nothing. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. You know, that was weird. And Derek's getting fined £100,000 for the slapping incident. And I'm not going to judge Vitaly for not striking back on a slap, because not everyone is overtly aggressive and they're not always going to retaliate, something like that. But spitting in someone's face is whoa. You know? I know a lot of people who can't wait to get down on black people. They're going to say it just proves they're animals, they flare up over everything, and they can't control themselves. Well, I'm not one of them black men who does the guilt thing. Because why would I put myself in a position where I'm sniveling, groveling, apologetically trying to explain away every indiscretion that some black person does? Why should I? No other race does it. That's no benefit to me. What's done is done. You either do something about it, or that's that. Simple as that. And I'm not going to go and dig up stories of where white men are just molesting children everywhere and in the Catholic Church and colonizing and robbing poor countries of their mineral resources, or going into poor countries and fucking little girls and all that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not here to justify, and I'm not here to demonize no one's behavior. It is what it is. It is what it is. But one thing you have to realize in life is that perception is a bigger reality than what is the truth sometimes. You know? Like, I'm going to take a little case study on a boxer. There was a boxer in the 80s, a junior middleweight, I believe. His name was Tony Ayala. This guy was a fucking beast in the ring, man. Like, he'd knock you out and then spit in your fucking face after, thump you up after the bell. He was just ruthless. He was just ruthless. He later fucked his career up. He went to jail, I think some sexual assault charge. But if you read his upbringing was just a disaster. He was sexually abused. He was abused by, it was horrible. It was horrible. But the thing is, the same attributes that made him rape the woman are the same attributes that made him so furious in the ring. Society doesn't want to deal with that. We don't want to deal with that. And look, this is not a video for a wrong or right answer. It is what it is, yeah? I'm not justifying, I'm not demonizing. This is just a case study into the psychology of all of us, If we was really serious about saying these boxers are flawed individuals who shouldn't be allowed a free rein in society, wouldn't it be responsible then to take some psychological tests on them to make sure they're not so unstable before they enter the ring? Wouldn't that be the right thing? Yes, it would be. But they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that because there's too much money involved to be made of these poor Latino, white, and black fighters coming from the inner cities. There's too much money to exploit from them.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
You see, but what a lot of people don't want to hear is that their philosophy is for you to be somebody in life, you need a whole heap of money or you ain't shit. If you haven't got enough money to be in the places where you're supposed to be seen, if you're not wearing what the fashion police say is in vogue, you ain't shit. If you ain't driving a fucking Bentley, you ain't shit. And that's what they're gauging it on, how much money you have. But having money doesn't immunize you from being a bastard, from being a fucked up person. Right? It doesn't. That's regardless if you're educated or not educated. Yeah? If you're educated, all it means is you're able to manipulate the system better. That's all that means. If you're rich and you're not so clued up, then you go to jail. When Mike Tyson went to jail for rape, one of the Kennedys had a rape case around the same time. And I remember some legal expert in America, he said there was more damning evidence against Kennedy than it was against Tyson. But Tyson didn't have the ability or the expertise behind him to manipulate the case like the Kennedys. So it was what it was. And that's the theme of this video. It was what it was. It is what it is. Like Gabriel Campillo, he got robbed on Saturday against Tavoris Cloud, and Cloud's one of my favorite fighters, man. But if you really go into it deeper, who was really fighting? It was Don King versus Lou DiBella. That's who the real fight was. And Lou DiBella lost because although King is not as powerful as he once was, he's a juggernaut compared to Lou. You know what I mean? See, and that's why I'm not like some of these ignorant pussies who wanna, oh, you're black and you're a nigga and you da-da-da-da. Don's black. Ain't too many white people can fuck with Don. And the history of boxing is littered with fighters, white and black, who've lost all their money because all they was concentrating on was fighting. And all their managers and promoters were concerned about is getting the money. And this goes across the board to all sportsmen who come from inner city backgrounds or impoverished backgrounds. You know, they get a whole heap of money, and more often than not, it just fucks them up. You know what I mean? Or they've allowed it to fuck them up. It's not money. They've allowed the money because they don't know any better. They do a bad impersonation of a rich person. They feel that all these people are genuinely their friends because they're so wonderful. But when them same flaws that make them a good sportsman resurface in a less suitable scenario, people asking, why did you do that? Why did you do that? Well, come on, use a bit of knowledge, man. I mean, not even a bit of knowledge. Just be real with yourself. Be real with yourself. It's like a lot of people, when they hear the soldiers over in Afghanistan or Iraq are abusing either soldiers they've caught as prisoners or citizens, they start saying, oh, they shouldn't be doing that. But, I mean, you just don't want to see shit for what it is. These soldiers grow up socialized by the TV, the media, by their job, by their marriage, their kids. They're socialized. They wake up at 8 o'clock, kiss their wife or whatever, and the kids, they watch their TV programs at a certain time, they punch a clock, etc., etc. Now all of a sudden, they're on this barren wasteland. Done seen his brethren get his legs blown off. He knows he could die at any time. So he turns into an animal. What do you think he's going to do? I mean, I think some people really believe that it's like a video game out there where they have these scanners and they point out where the bad enemy is, and only where the bad people are, people get killed. You know, these precision bombs, like a video game. No innocent women, men or children get hit. They don't lose their homes, their infrastructure, their schools, etc. You know? You have to get real. It is what it is. You know, if you bought into the weapons of mass destruction argument, or if you bought into we're trying to liberate them people from their dictator-type leaders, then you bought into it. You're a dummy. If you think it's like some George Lucas, Steven Spielberg production out there, where they've got these sophisticated weapons and they speak with great platitudes, I'm doing this for the good of mankind. No. Their weaponry is still relatively rudimentary. You know what I'm saying? They're freestyling out there. They even said it recently, last year I believe, where some soldiers said, we don't know what we're doing out here. There is no objective. That's just to make the public feel that they're not total arseholes for supporting the war, which most of them know they are really. They just don't want to turn their fantasy world upside down and realize that Tony Blair, George Bush, and yeah, Obama too, because he's taking up the slack. You've got to throw him in there too. I love him and everything, being the black president, but yo, it is what it is. It is what it is. Be real to yourself. I mean, do you really think they're going to ban David Haye and Derek Chisora? No, they're not. Because they know these guys sell fights. You know? They sell fights. They're not going to ban them. They know. If you're a boxer, unless you're Vladimir or Vitaly Klitschko, who, I tell you what, I'm not too keen on Vladimir. I don't know what it is. He's got some pussy thing about him. I like Vitaly. And I wish at times I could have his temperament. I really do. Because in a lot of financial aspects of my life, if I had his temperament, I'd be a lot better off today. I guarantee that. I admire that. But at the same time, it's an unusual perspective they have on boxing. They're just like, I don't know if they're drugged up, you know what I mean? Or it's unusual. They're just not very aggressive people. But that's not the norm for boxing. That's the exception to the rule. Jake LaMotta was a bad boy. Seen box up in woman, beat up in brother, stood up to the mob. The Klitschko's wouldn't have done all that shit there. You know, they're characters. They're men are characters. Muhammad Ali stood up to the government. You know, he brought millions into the game, predicting rounds, making poems about his opponents. You know? Before him, the heavyweight champion was like, yeah, kids, drink your milk. Yeah, I'm going to train for 8 weeks. Don't know my press-ups. I hope the troops do well in the war, and I will give it my best. That's what they were like, you know, just robotic, trotting it out. And there wasn't a lot of money in the game until Ali came. And he brought flavor, he brought spice and essence, you know what I mean, into the fucking proceedings. And tell me this, did they like Ali? No, they didn't like him. They appreciate him now when he's sick and can barely talk. That's why they like him, because he can't be opinionated. That's why I don't like some of these fuckers. You know what I mean? Now, oh, he was so great, man. He was so brave. And shut the fuck up. Please shut up. Please shut up. When he was standing up for shit with the Nation of Islam, you hated his guts. When he stood up and said, no, Viet Cong never did him no wrong, you hated his guts. You know what I mean? He was real. realer than you ever be with your hypocritical bullshit. You used to accuse Ali, the press I'm talking about, of being divisive against his opponents, calling Floyd the rabbit and Frazier the gorilla. What you failed to mention is all of these Negroes, I love Joe Frazier, but in this scenario, Negro, right? They wouldn't acknowledge when my man changed his name to Muhammad Ali. They were still calling him Cassius Clay. Him, Ernie Terrell, Patterson, Frazier, and a few more of them. So he fought back. And like I said in the previous video, because he was more articulate than them, he was burning it. He was burning their chest with his words. But yo, that's how it goes. You lose the battle. You know what I mean? It's like a rap battle, you lost. You know what I mean? My man was a poet with soul. But you failed to mention that. It's not convenient for your argument. So yeah, you're saying all this ban Chisora, ban Haye. You don't really mean it. You're just saying that to make yourself appear to be the bastion of good taste, of good old British taste. No, you're full of shit. The British boxing board of control are still fucked up after paying Michael Watson out all that money years back in the Chris Eubanks bout. I've always read the boxing news where they're in some financial shit. You think they can afford to ban their elite fighters? You think Frank Warren's going to invest all that money into Box Nation and all them investors, and they're going to allow Chisora and David Haye to be banned from boxing for life? Then who's going to fucking flagship boxing in the UK when you do that? You tell me that now. Look, I'm not stupid. I know you can't come out and say these things. But I can, because I don't have a stake in none of it. I know you're scapegoating them. You're scapegoating them to excuse your bloodlust and my bloodlust of seeing two men punch their heads in. You know what I mean? We understand that. We understand that. But this is why I'm here. To bring you a video with some clarity. Look, it's all damage limitation. Right? That's all it is. There's no moral standards. It's all damage limitation. No one got killed. No one even got really badly injured. They had a brawl, and that was that. We move on. And what can we extract and salvage from this lesson of damage limitation? Well, let's start with the press. You get all your scoops this week. The biggest sports story of the week, maybe of the year so far. Your circulation is doing fine out of that, because even I bought a paper, and I don't normally buy the red top tabloid papers because they're full of junk. But I bought one today. So you have that. And after Derek or David do not get banned, which they won't, you guys will be there with everybody else, amping up the big fights. When the contracts are signed, you're not going to be saying, oh, we don't support this fight, they should be banned. You're not going to be saying that. You're not going to be saying that. You're going to be pumping up the fights for your own benefits. We know that. And more importantly, because fuck the press, what do we get out of it as the boxing fans? Well, they've already self-promoted the fight already by brawling. Apart from the brawl, there was some good dialogues between Haye, Frank Warren, and Burnt Wald, whatever his name is. I mean, there was some good dialogues there. So now we have the possibility of some super fights in the UK. We might be blessed with Chisora versus Haye in the UK. Or, even better, imagine this. Haye versus Vitali, Chisora versus Vladimir in Germany on one bill. That would be a super bill. That would be probably the biggest fight card of the decade so far. That would be massive. You know? That's what we salvage out of that. It's all good. It's not all bad. It's all good. Breaking news, David Haye refuses to apologize for his part in the melee on Saturday.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!